How's it going, everyone? It is Drago. We're back with another Eden Zero video, and this one's kind of a sad one because I'm going to be just talking about my general thoughts about the final chapter of Eden Zero, that being chapter 293, Friends. And also I'm going to be giving kind of an overview and just kind of memories I've had with the whole series and just kind of almost a retrospective on it, because this is the ending, you know? Absolutely love the color page that they did for this finale with everyone on it. I think everyone's personality gets shown pretty decently in it. Initially, the first thing I really do like about this chapter is that, you pick back up with Granbell. We go back to where we started this whole series, which I think is a really nice touch. And you get to see all the machines that Shiki genuinely really cares about. And they're all back alive, and he seems to be taking care of everyone there and just having a really nice time. And I like that he still has like Pino around, and he definitely still cares so much about Pino, even though she's no longer around for him. Now you get everyone in this chapter pretty much hurrying along Shiki, like, you gotta hurry up, Shiki, get a move on, let's go. And when I was first reading this, I genuinely thought it was going to be like Shiki getting married, or like, honestly, for reasons that Shiki was getting rushed to get a move on and whatever. I did not think that it was going to turn out that he is about to be a father and he's got to get there to see his child being born. I absolutely love that Rebecca and Shiki are having a child together. I think it is such a cool thing for them. And I would have loved to see a little bit more of that, to like, how did they fully get together now? Because we never got that. We just got a hand holding in the last chapter. And obviously this has to be like at least a bare minimum 9 months time skip from the last chapter. It doesn't really give us a good sense of time here. But genuinely, I think it is such a nice moment that Shiki and Rebecca are actually having a child, because those two are so sweet together. I think they're such a nice couple. So talking about everyone else, because literally this whole chapter is about the birth of Shiki and Rebecca's child. Comparing it to Mashima's last ending, that being Fairy Tail, the ending in Fairy Tail at least had a good moment to focus on everyone. How is their lives progressing? What are they doing after the battles? Kind of that stuff. Here you get pretty much everyone, but you don't really get a good sense of what everyone's doing. Like most of the Shining Stars, you don't really get to know entirely what they're doing with their lives now, because I would say like Sister and Witch are definitely probably still with Shiki on Granbell, which is where you go to like Hermit and Weiss, which I just want to say Weiss's haircut is so trash now. Like, what the flip haircut is this, dude? Generally like that they're making machinery together still. I think that is such a fun thing that they're still a duo. But besides building this plane, like, you don't really get to know what the heck they're doing here, or like what is their status on things. Same thing with Homura and Valkyrie, which you see that she's at least in the presence of her mom, but like, how is that going? How is their relationship doing? Generally, what is she doing with her life now? Which is where you get to the other Eden Zero members arriving on Granbell, and clearly they've been like disbanded for some time here, because the way that they're talking to each other, like, it's been a long time, it's great to see you again, you've all grown up. Like, there's been some clear time between these guys seeing each other. Also, additional note that I kind of love, that Witch and Sister are the ones like delivering the baby for Rebecca. Now, just as you're getting this baby like delivered, I think this is where I like it, but then also there's like parts where I'm like, why couldn't we have just done it? Because you get to know what is happening to Pino, to where she's actually interacting with Mother, and Mother says, hey, I can have you be reborn as Shiki's kid, and you can live your life as a human, which I actually genuinely love that, because I think it is, Pino's ultimate dream that, she wanted to be a human at some point, which it kind of happened already in the last chapter. I genuinely like how this is revealed what Pino's decision was, because you get the baby being born, which, mind you, could we not have shown the baby? Literally this whole chapter, no baby is shown, so we actually don't know what the heck Shiki and Rebecca's kid is going to look like. Also, I just love that Shiki immediately goes up to Rebecca after, like, she had their baby, and, like, he pats her on the head like, "You did it, Rebecca, good job." And, you know, since they had a girl, they're like, okay, what are we gonna name her? And Shiki was going to say Pino, which I absolutely love the freaking reveal that, like, Pino just opens the door like, "I'm not gonna let you use my name unless if I give my permission first, and I don't know if I'm gonna give my permission yet." I love everyone's reactions to Pino being back, and I really like the panel with Shiki going to hug Pino. It's a really cute panel, but really interesting that you just put Hermit and Weiss behind him, like not everyone else. I like that they're both smiling, crying, and Pino saying, "I'm home." Genuinely, I actually really like the idea that Pino loves Shiki and the crew so much, and that she went on these adventures and in android form, and because this is her form, this is her, so she chooses to stay in the form because, you know, Shiki's kid is Shiki's kid and Pino is Pino, and she chooses to keep it that way. Generally, I do really love the end dialogue for Eden Zero here, with it saying, "I went on those adventures in this form, I am me, and it doesn't matter if you're human or machine, not to my master or any of my friends on the Eden Zero." Which I've read the chapter a few times now, and honestly I don't think it's really fully hit me that it's over yet. I think reading that, like, physically out loud right now, it just, like, literally just hit me that I'm like, it's over, it's done, this is it, Eden Zero's over now. I think my first initial thought reading through this chapter was that there needed to be more. I think you have such a almost time skip, and I think, like, when you compare it even to the fairy tale one, you got a good idea of what everyone was doing with their lives, kind of how everyone progressed in the world, and kind of gave closure somewhat to everyone, I guess. I mean, obviously the ending of that kind of was setting up, you know, 100-year quest. It definitely was in the long term of things, but I think initially when you had no context of 100-year quest, it was like, oh, like, I loved seeing the progression of everyone, but, like, you left it on, like, a cliffhanger, like, they're on this quest, like, that's the next arc, like, it was maybe, like, a little unfulfilling in that way, but I loved the other stuff, you know? I feel like you should have, at bare minimum, done at least another chapter or a few, just to flesh a few more things out. I think from last chapter to where Rebecca and Shiki were just holding hands. They did not confess their love for one another. They didn't even say they were going to be dating or anything. To next chapter, they're immediately having a child. Which, speaking of their child, I so desperately just wanted to see what is Rebecca and Shiki's child gonna look like. And the fact that we never got that, and I feel like that's like almost a gut punch, because it's just like, what does their kid look like? I'm so curious. What does Shiki and Rebecca's child actually look like? I love the moments with Pino. I think it is so sweet. I think it is a great thing that even Pino chose to still be an android when she could have had her dream. And I just genuinely really would have liked to known, what is everyone doing with their life now? Because it clearly seems that the Eden Zero is disbanded. I don't think the crew is together anymore, you know, based on dialogue. Genuinely now, I just almost have this sadness, and, like, I hope down the line there's maybe more to flesh things out, I guess, which there probably won't be, but who knows? Eden Zero could be successful and they're like, bring it back, sequel series, you know. Now getting into, you know, talking about my memories and just thoughts on Eden Zero as a whole, with it being over now. genuinely, I really do like this series. I think it's so fun. I think everyone in the crew is so delightful. Now, kind of going to just earliest memories of this, obviously we had Fairy Tail End. You had the announcement of Eden Zero, which, gosh dang, that got people riled up for obviously some of the character designs matching. Fairy Tail ones, probably the most prevalent being Happy, and like Elsie Crimson, kind of looking like Urza. And I think people were really hard on Rebecca at the beginning, man, because people were saying obviously like she's a Lucy clone, which personality wise and I think even look wise, no, Rebecca is completely different. You know, they're not the same. And I think even watching Eden Zero and reading it and stuff, they're so dramatically different from one another. Maybe besides like Happy, because like Happy's pretty much exactly the same. People were really tough with the Eden Zero at the beginning because they're just saying, oh, it's a clone of Fairy Tail in space. And I think watching and reading it, it really made itself its own by the end and even at the very beginning too. Now, as for myself, I read Eden Zero initially week to week when it first came out. I had read it up until, I'm tempted to say, like maybe after Pino and Weiss had joined the crew, but maybe just before Homura came into the picture. And I think at the time, because obviously we had no anime and any of this, I didn't really get it, I guess, because that was when you were getting into like the whole time stuff, and like you have the old version of Weiss and the young version of Weiss. I just think in a manga format, it just confused the crap out of me. So I had checked in with it every now and then, but I hadn't really regularly read it until the first season came out. When I actually watched it in a anime format, the stuff that I was like, what am I reading? I'm kind of confused. It made perfect sense to me then. And genuinely, I think the anime kind of explaining things I just got confused on or whatever, I think the first season really ignited my love for this series then, because I think I wasn't really a regular reader until that first season came out. And then after that, I had been reading it week to week, you know, every week, because I absolutely loved the first season. I haven't watched the second season yet, just because I've always been waiting for it to be in English dub, which it seems like it practically never will be because of rights. Now, obviously, on the YouTube side of things, I made videos talking about the first season. I did not make any videos really talking about any of the chapters, because obviously I cover the Fairy Tail chapters pretty much every chapter now, and I've been covering Dead Rock now. And the fact that Eden Zero and Fairy Tail chapters would always come out on the same day, it was more or less pick one. And, you know, obviously I have more of a Fairy Tail fan base than an Eden Zero one, so I had always just pick Fairy Tail, and I'd never make content on it, even though I had read it week to week. And obviously I needed to make a video about the finale. It was like a mandatory for me to do. Now, Eden Zero technically fully isn't done in a way, because I don't know if there's going to be a movie. I swore I saw an article about that, but I know for sure that there's a video game, and I just saw screenshots of the video game literally today. I think that came out with the final chapter here. To me, yes, the end lines are beautiful, and I think even Fairy Tail's end lines about, you know, having irreplaceable friends and that, and the whole mythos of Fairy Tail, beautiful. I love those lines. They're some of my favorite. Like, generally, those Lucy lines are so beautiful. To me, this ending still doesn't seem very definitive. I feel like we're just missing pieces, you know? Overall, I'd say Eden Zero has been a pretty wild ride with a kind of controversial start, even though not really, to be honest. And I think it really did distinguish itself from Mashima's other works. And I think he really did unique stuff with Eden Zero, with, you know, time travel, way he did powers, because I absolutely loved, like, you know, the Ether Gear stuff, having like tattoos on people's bodies and they would like glow and they all have different things. I thought that was really cool. And very similar to Fairy Tail, he made it basically a family again without calling it a guild, but, you know, they're on the ship, the Eden Zero, you know, and he really did get you to care about a lot of these characters. Genuinely, I would have really liked to make more videos about Eden Zero. Maybe I still will, who knows, but, you know, it gets hard with life and choosing what to make when I get so busy and stuff, and, you know, Eden Zero kind of got pushed away in a way, and that's kind of sad. The one thing I will say about Mashima is that I think for me, his stories have such deep friendships and stuff, and sense of togetherness, I guess, in the story, that, you know, you really honestly do feel like you're part of the crew or the guild and Fairy Tail and whatnot. And when you don't like have that anymore, it's almost like you're missing a piece of yourself, I guess, then, because you honestly are like almost a member. And, you know, I think he has a really good way of capturing that feeling. So it almost is like you're gonna be quite literally losing a part of yourself, you know? Eden Zero will always have a special place in my heart, even though I think Fairy Tail I like more still. But Eden Zero is relatively more recent. Like, what, did it come out in 2018? I will always have a fondness for it and its characters and its story. And I'm not really sure how to end this video because it's literally a goodbye. You know, this might never get made again or continued in any way besides a video game. What are your guys' thoughts about Eden Zero and your memories? Leave in the comments below. Thank you for watching, and this is Draco, signing out.